champions. I came here to shake the dust off your dreams, to wake up the sleeping giant in you. I came here to tell you, you have the power, the permission, and the responsibility to pick yourself. You don't need a vote. You don't need approval. You don't need anyone to say you're ready. You are the one you've been waiting for. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt stuck, caught in a moment that keeps repeating itself? Stuck in a job that's draining your soul? In a relationship that's breaking more than it's building? In habits that hijack your potential? Oh, yes, we've all been there. But here's the truth they don't teach in school. Life doesn't give you permission slips. It gives you problems. It gives you pressure. And it gives you a decision. You weren't born to settle. You weren't created to merely survive. You were designed to rise. And if you're stuck right now, I want you to hear me with your soul. You don't have to stay there. Say it with me. I don't have to stay here. Louder. I don't have to stay here. Let me break something down for you. Being stuck is not a sentence. It's a signal. A signal that your current chapter is not your final one. That the ground beneath your feet is not where your story ends. You're not stuck because you're broken. You're stuck because you've been afraid to break free. And that's okay. Fear is real. Fear is human. But let me remind you of something. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move anyway. Your next level is waiting on the other side of your next move. Now, some of you are thinking, but I don't know where to start. I don't have the money. I don't have the connections. I don't have the degree. Let me tell you something. You don't need the degree when you've got the fire. You don't need connections when you've got commitment. And you don't need permission when you've got purpose. When you pick yourself, you change the game. You shift from waiting to working, from wishing to winning, from hoping to hustling. Nobody's coming to save you. The cavalry isn't on its way, but you are enough. You've got seeds of greatness in you. I'm talking about untapped strengths, unspoken dreams, and unused potential. You didn't lose it. It's still in there. It's just been covered by doubt, buried by fear, blocked by hesitation. But today, we dig it up. We reclaim it. We reignite it. Get unstuck. If you're in a pit, stop decorating it. Stop making excuses for it. Stop blaming others for it. And start climbing. Use what you have. Use your pain as fuel. Use your struggle as a step. Use your tears as a testimony. See, the problem is not that we fall. The problem is we forget we can get back up. You may have fallen, but you're not finished. Let them count you out. Let them walk away. Let them doubt you. That's none of your business. What matters is that you show up for you. Because when you pick yourself, when you decide, I will not be a victim of my circumstances, I will be a victor, something shifts. Heaven takes notice. Your enemies get nervous and your destiny starts to activate. Now hear me. This journey won't be easy. No, you'll face resistance. You'll face rejection. You'll feel like quitting. But that's the test. Every champion was once a contender who refused to quit. Every legend had a moment when quitting seemed easier. And every breakthrough was born in a storm. So don't stop in the struggle. Don't quit in the dark. Don't fold just because it's hard. Because pressure doesn't break you. It builds you. It builds your faith. It builds your grit. It builds your character. You might not see the progress now, but trust me, every small step counts. Every act of courage compounds. Every risk you take rewrites your story. Pick yourself. Start that business. Apply for that opportunity. Walk away from what's draining you. Learn what you need to learn. Say yes to your calling and no to your comfort zone. You've got power in your voice, magic in your hands, a mission in your bones. And the world is waiting on you. Not the watered down version of you, not the version you shrink into to make others comfortable. I'm talking about the full, unapologetic, bold, blazing you. Pick yourself. Get up, shake off the lies, stand tall in your truth. You are not stuck. You are standing in the space between the old version of you and the one you're becoming. So own your growth, claim your crown, speak to the mirror and say, I will not stay stuck. I am coming for everything that's mine. Let's go. This is your time, your moment, your comeback. So pick yourself and get on. For too long, we've been trained to wait. Wait for someone to see us. Wait for someone to choose us. Wait for a boss, a mentor, a parent, a partner to say, now you're ready. But the truth is, that moment rarely comes. The world is not in the business of handing out validation slips. Growth doesn't require a green light from someone else. It requires a decision from you. Think about a seed. Nobody tells the seed, okay, it's time to grow now. It just begins underground, in the dark, where nobody claps, nobody watches, nobody celebrates. It doesn't need applause to push through the soil. It doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It simply starts becoming what it was born to be. And you, yes, you are the same. You have everything you need already inside of you. You just have to stop waiting and start moving. We've been programmed to believe that someone out there holds the key to our future, that we must be chosen, that success, opportunity, or worthiness has to be given. So we shrink, we hesitate, we second guess, we look for signs, for approval, for validation, and sometimes even for permission to dream. But let me tell you something powerful. You are the gatekeeper of your own growth. The moment you decide that you are worthy of becoming more, doing more, being more, that's the moment you begin. You don't need someone to tell you you're talented. Start using your talent. You don't need someone to label you smart or gifted. Start learning, start applying, start becoming. The world will catch up. Let them see the results later. Right now, you got a mission. Right now, your job is to move, to act, to trust that you don't need to be discovered. You need to be decided. Decided on your value. Decided on your path. Decided on your potential. So many people stay stuck because they're waiting for a sign, a signal, or a stage. But what if the sign is the fire in your belly? What if the signal is the whisper in your soul saying you were made for more? What if the stage you're waiting for is the very space you're standing in right now? Growth is not about waiting for the right time. It's about making the time right by taking the first step. Nobody becomes extraordinary by accident. People rise because they stop asking for permission and start walking in purpose. You've got to get to a place where your own yes is louder than the world's silence. And yes, it's scary. Yes, you'll have doubts. Yes, you might fail. But guess what? Growth requires risk. It requires discomfort. And most of all, it requires ownership. You can't outsource your evolution. You can't delegate your dreams. Nobody can do the push-ups for you. Nobody can speak the truth you won't admit to yourself. Nobody can want it for you more than you want it for yourself. So the next time you catch yourself asking, am I good enough? Am I ready? Change the question. Ask instead, am I willing? Am I willing to try? Am I willing to be bad at it before I get good? Am I willing to grow without a guarantee? Because those who grow don't grow by permission, they grow by persistence. You've got the right to grow. You've got the right to rise. You've got the right to take up space, to evolve, to become everything life tried to talk you out of. Give yourself the green light. Give yourself the go ahead. Give yourself the grace to get it wrong and the grit to get it right. When you feel stuck, it doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're lazy, weak, or unworthy. It means something deeper. It's life's way of tapping you on the shoulder. That uncomfortable feeling, that tightness in your chest, that restless silence you keep trying to distract yourself from, it's not punishment. It's guidance. It's feedback. It's a signal that your current situation no longer fits the person you're becoming. Too often, people treat stuckness like it's permanent, like they've been sentenced to a life of mediocrity, disappointment, or unfulfilled dreams. They start to believe that where they are is where they'll always be. But being stuck is never the final word, unless you decide not to move. Just like a traffic jam doesn't mean the road is closed. It just means you're delayed, not denied. Think about a snake. When it sheds its skin, during that process, it becomes irritated, uncomfortable, and even vulnerable. But that discomfort is necessary. It signals growth. It signals that the old layer can no longer contain what's developing inside. And it's the same with you. That tension you feel, that dissatisfaction, that internal tug of war, it's a sign that you've outgrown something, a way of thinking, a job, a relationship, a version of yourself, a version of yourself. That sense of being stuck is simply your spirit outgrowing your surroundings. But here's the thing. Most people misread the signal. Instead of seeing stuckness as a cue to evolve, they treat it like a dead end. They start to settle. They lower their standards. They silence their desires. They build a home in a place that was only meant to be a rest stop. They start telling themselves stories like, maybe this is just how life is, or I should be grateful for what I have, or worse, it's too late for me. But that's not truth. That's fear disguised as logic. The feeling of being stuck is your invitation to wake up. It's your soul saying, there's more for you, more impact, more purpose, more growth. But to access that more, you've got to stop treating discomfort as danger. Discomfort is often the birthplace of transformation. If everything always felt easy, you'd never stretch. If things always stayed comfortable, you'd never change. Being stuck hurts, but it's the kind of pain that comes with possibility. There's a difference between being stuck and being still. Stillness can be powerful. Stillness is a choice, a moment of grounding, a conscious pause. But stuckness, real stuckness, is when you want to move, when you need to move, but you don't believe you can. That's when it becomes dangerous. That's when the mind starts building cages out of old stories. That's when people start replaying the same excuses like a broken record. I've always been this way. Nothing ever changes. What's the point? But the truth is, every person you admire, every person who's done something remarkable, once felt stuck too. The difference is they listened to the signal. They didn't let the feeling become their fate. They used the discomfort as fuel. They used the pressure to pivot. They let the struggle. When you feel stuck, don't numb it. Don't bury it. Don't ignore it. Listen, ask yourself, what part of my life is asking to change? Sometimes it's your habits. Sometimes it's your mindset. Sometimes it's the company you keep. But there is always a reason behind the resistance. There is always something inside you that wants to break through. Excuses are clever. They dress themselves up as logic. They sound reasonable. They sound safe. They give you a way out that feels justified, even comfortable. But comfort is not the same as progress. Excuses are the bricks that build the walls around your potential. Every time you say, I can't, or it's not the right time, or maybe later, you're laying down another brick between where you are and where you could be. Excuses don't come from your strength. They come from your fear. Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But here's the truth. There is no version of growth that doesn't pass through the fire of discomfort. And the longer you hold on to your excuses, the longer you postpone the life that's trying to reach you. We all have stories we tell ourselves. Stories about why we didn't start, why we couldn't continue, why we're still standing in the same spot. But at some point you have to ask yourself, are these stories serving me or trapping me? The mind will always choose safety over uncertainty. That's biology. But your destiny isn't built on biology. It's built on belief, on action, on choosing to show up, even when everything in you says, wait. People say they want progress, but progress has a price. And that price is letting go of the crutches you've leaned on, the excuses that kept you from trying, the patterns that gave you a false sense of control. Progress requires responsibility. It requires you to say, if I want something different, I have to do something different. The hardest person to confront is yourself. It's easy to blame time, money, circumstances, even other people. But when you stand in front of the mirror and say, no more excuses, I own my choices, I own my outcomes, that's when things shift. That's when you stop looking for exits and start building entrances. That's when the fog clears and the path appears, even if it's just one step at a time. Progress is not about perfection. It's not about massive leaps every day. It's about removing the barriers you've built one by one. It's about catching yourself when you start to say, I'll do it tomorrow, and instead saying, I'll start today. It's about recognizing the difference between being busy and being effective. Excuses will always offer you an out. Progress demands that you stay in. Look around. Every breakthrough you admire, every transformation that inspires you, it started with a decision to stop playing small, to stop blaming, to stop hiding behind circumstances. Progress is available to everyone, but it is guaranteed to no one. You have to choose it daily, and that choice begins where your excuses end. You'll never run out of reasons to wait. There will always be something: too tired, too broke, too inexperienced, too late. But every time you act in spite of those reasons, you take the power back. You reclaim your time, your energy, your direction. Excuses are chains made of words. Break them, and you start to move differently, think differently, believe differently. The moment you take full ownership, without blame, without escape routes, is the moment your life begins to pivot. Not because everything becomes easy, but because you stop giving yourself permission to stay stuck. You start speaking to your future with action, not just intention. The version of you that got here is not the version that will take you there. Growth doesn't just ask for more effort. It demands transformation. It calls for a shift in how you think, how you act, how you speak to yourself, how you carry yourself. The next level of your life has new challenges, new responsibilities, and new rewards. But to access those, you have to be willing to shed what no longer fits. Every level of life comes with its own standards. If you want more, you must become more. That doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means evolving into who you're meant to be. It means being honest about what's holding you back. It means questioning your habits, your routines, your environment, even your identity. Because often the biggest barrier to where you're going is the comfort of where you've been. You can't reach the next level while clinging to the old version of yourself that plays it safe, avoids discomfort, seeks approval, and hides behind fear. That version served a purpose. It got you through seasons of survival. But now you're being called to thrive. That requires boldness. That requires discipline. That requires you to upgrade your mindset and confront the parts of yourself that are no longer in alignment with where you say you want to go. You can't demand elevation and resist change at the same time. Growth is not convenient. It's not comfortable. It's disruptive. It asks you to let go of the familiar and step into the unknown. It demands sacrifice. Maybe that means less time with people who drain you. Maybe it means getting up earlier, working harder, speaking up, saying no when it's easier to say yes. The next level doesn't compromise, it refines you. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They want the results, but not the refinement. They want the reward, but not the responsibility. They want success, but still carry the mindset of someone who's afraid to fail. But the truth is, you can't bring old limitations into a new reality. The thinking that created the problem cannot create the solution. You have to become someone who can handle what you're asking for. If you want to lead, you must think like a leader. If you want abundance, you must stop thinking in scarcity. If you want peace, you must stop choosing chaos. Your next level is not something you stumble into, it's something you grow into. You build it through repetition, through mindset shifts, through action in the face of fear. That next version of you is already in there, but it's going to cost you the comfort of staying the same. This is not about pretending to be someone else. It's about becoming the fullest expression of who you really are. It's about removing the layers of doubt, insecurity, and old programming that have been weighing you down. Every time you act with intention, you bring that next version closer. Every time you choose growth over fear, clarity over confusion, purpose over distraction, you evolve. You are not here to remain unchanged. You are here to expand, to stretch, to rise. The next level has been calling you for a long time, but it's waiting on the version of you who is ready to answer. Not the one who is rehearsing the past, but the one who is ready to rewrite the future. Not the one who is holding back, but the one who is leaning forward. Not the one who avoids risk, but the one who understands that growth demands courage. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to notice their talent, waiting for a break, waiting for clarity. But waiting is a trap. It's disguised as patience, but often it's fear wearing a mask. Every day you wait, you delay your own potential. Every moment you hesitate, you train your mind to doubt instead of decide. The world doesn't owe you a spotlight. It doesn't hand out opportunities to the most deserving. It gives them to the ones who step up and claim them. If you're waiting for someone to pick you, you may be waiting forever. The truth is, nobody is coming to rescue you. Nobody is coming to suddenly hand you the life you dream about. It's on you. And that's not a burden. It's your greatest power. When you pick yourself, you stop outsourcing your destiny. You stop giving other people the authority to decide how far you can go. You stop tying your value to someone else's recognition. You stop sitting in the audience and finally walk up to the stage. Picking yourself means deciding that you are worthy of more, not because someone else said so, but because you believe it and you're ready to prove it. Waiting feels safe, but it steals time. It keeps you locked in a cycle of almost, someday, maybe. It gives you just enough hope to keep dreaming, but not enough momentum to start doing. Picking yourself breaks that cycle. It says, I may not have all the answers, but I'm moving forward anyway. It says, I may be afraid, but I won't let fear have the final say. It says, I'm not waiting for validation, I'll show up without it. Think of all the things that never happened. Not because someone failed, but because someone never started. All the ideas that never launched, all the books never written, all the businesses never built, because the person behind them kept waiting to feel ready. But readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You don't wait to feel ready to pick yourself. You pick yourself and readiness follows. You already have what it takes. The ability to learn, to grow, to adapt, to fail and get back up. No one else needs to grant you access to your next level. You create that access by acting on what you already know you need to do, by showing up, by putting in the reps, by refusing to sit on the sidelines of your own life. There's a shift that happens the moment you stop asking, will they let me? And start declaring, I'm doing it anyway. It's a mental flip that changes everything. It silences doubt. It strengthens resolve. It forces the world to take you seriously because you've started taking yourself seriously. That energy is magnetic. That energy opens doors. Every success story starts with a choice, not a chance, not luck, not approval, a choice to begin, a choice to stop, waiting for the stars to align and start aligning your own actions. When you pick yourself, you start to see differently. You stop measuring your worth by the opinions of others. You stop playing small to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for wanting more. The people who make the biggest impact aren't always the most talented or the most connected. They're the ones who stopped waiting. They're the ones who dared to believe they could create something from nothing. They're the ones who picked themselves when no one else would, and then proved why they were right to do so.